Howdy folks, welcome back. We have a hard puzzle this morning. Let's take a gander here. Lots of numbers in these top three. It seems to kind of filter a little bit lower, only one over here in this cube. So anywhere I see these kinds of rows or columns, I always kind of look to see, like see this 9 here comes right through this row. I got a 2 and a 5 that come down this column. Those are always nice and dandy. Got another, this whole row here doesn't have anything. Okay, see this 8 here and this 8 here cover these two rows, so this is actually the only spot left for an 8. Okay, now see I have a 1 and an 8 and a 1 and an 8, so that's actually going to lock these two cells into 1s and 8s, and I call this a double lock. If you guys have been watching my channel, these two cells, they can only be a 2 and an 8, but like this is a perfect example. Like in this cube I need a 3, and you see there's no 3s to limit it, but it can't be in one of these two cells because of the limits of the 1s and 8s. These two have to be a 1 and an 8. If a 3 were to go here, then the 1s and the 8s couldn't fit anywhere else. It would break the whole puzzle. So this double lock, even though I don't have anywhere else to know where a 3 is, well, I know a 3 has to be one of these two spots or on these outer ones on this cube because of this feature, again, I call a double lock. So if we look at this row, the only two numbers that we're missing looks like a 2 and a 3. So if I had a 2 down one of these columns, I would get my first 3 out of it. But I'm just going to mark these as my 2s and my 3s. Okay, and so that also helped me here in this cube. I've got my 1, 2, I don't know where the 3s are yet, 4, 5. Okay, no help on the 6. Okay, I've got 2 7s across the top, so I know my 7 has to go down here somewhere. We've got the 8 marked, and then I don't have a 9 just yet. Okay, so that was pretty helpful, at least here in a little bit. Let's see what else we have. Looking for where a lot of numbers intersect. I always let my mind do a little bit of wandering before I delve into systematics, whether I start with the numbers or start with rows and columns. Let's see what else we have. All right, nothing is jumping out on my brain just yet, so I'm going to have to kind of go over to my systematics here just a smidge. Okay. All right, so now I need to start looking for pairs. So let's kind of go columns here. I've got some 2s, so I know that I have a 2 either here or here. I've got 3 5s. Okay, I've got 1 4. Okay, looking at these next two pairs, I see there's a pair of 9s here. So that means this one actually has to be my 9. Now I have another double lock over here. The numbers I was looking for here. Now these two, because I have a 7 and a 9 and a 7 and 9, these two have to be 7s and 9s. There we go. So now what are the other two numbers that are missing? It looks like a 3 and a 6. Okay, so here's a 3, here's a 6, here's a 3, here's a 6. Now that also helps me down here. So these two numbers have to be a 2 and a 5. There we go. There's that help I was looking for. Here's this 2 coming up. So this is actually the only spot that can be a 2, only spot that can be a 5. Now this 2 helps us out with these guys. That one has to now be a 3. This one has to be a 2. We have one number left here. It looks like a 6. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. two numbers missing here now. Looks like a 3 and a 5. 3 and a 5. Okay. See, so these double locks are super, super important to tell you what can't be somewhere else, even if you can't see where the numbers actually go. Okay, so great. We were just doing some pairs. Now we can go back to some pairs. I notice a pair of 6s here, so we have to have a set of 6s here. Okay. Let's see, a pair of 1s, so we have to have a 1 over here somewhere. Pair of 7s and another 7. So actually this is the only spot left for a 7 here, which now gives me a pair to the right. One of these two have to be a 7. Okay, now I haven't got to do this one just yet with this newer puzzle, but there's something called a crisscross pattern. And if you look in this top right cube, 7 has to be here or here. Now in this bottom cube, they have to be here and here. So this works for columns and rows. If you have two of them selected and they're the same two in another cube, there's a crisscross technique, a crisscross pattern that happens. If this 7 is in the left, that means this 7 is in the right, and vice versa, the crisscross. If it's in the bottom left, then it's in the top right. But either way, this left column and this right column, it's almost like a double lock, but it's using the same number. There's no way that in the center cube I can have a 7 down the right or a 7 in the left, because it would disconnect both of these. So crisscross patterns, if you have two numbers, one number in two different cubes, both horizontally or vertically, so I can't have a 7 here in the middle, right? So the 7 has to be in the middle. Okay, you can see that other ways. You can't have a 7 here, you can't have a 7 here. So if you see that this creates a crisscross pattern in only two of the three rows or columns, then the third one has to be in the third cube. So I actually have to have a 7 here. Okay, just by rules of elimination, this crisscross pattern. Okay, so that's a good pattern to be aware of. Let's see what else we have. Looking for pairs and patterns. Okay, let's look over here. I've got some 8s over here, so I'm going to have an 8 in the middle. Okay, I have a 7 down the left and the right and through the center, so we've got to mark our 7s here like this. Okay. All right, we have a pair of 8s, so this is actually the only spot left for an 8. Okay, we now have an 8 left and right here going vertically, so we can mark those. Let's see what else we have here. Got the 7 marked. Okay. Okay, that looks good. Okay, all right, I see now I got a pair of 1s here. Okay, so this one or this one has to be my 1. Okay. All right, we've got a pair of 2s. I'm going to look horizontally, and this 2 here. So it tells me I have to have a 2 in one of these two spots. Okay, I've got my 7s marked and my 9s marked. 1, 2, 3 can be everywhere. 4 can be down here. 5 can be everywhere. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Let's see what else we have. We've got a 1. 2 can be down here anywhere. 3 can be everywhere. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I see this 5 here. So even though it comes across this way, what it's also telling me, okay, is that a 5 has to be here, right? In this particular uh, center part of the center cube. So down here has to be a 5. That's the only place to have a 5 here, but it can't be in the left side. So we're going to have to do these two are our 5. All right, and then we've got the same thing with the 6s. See here we got a pair of 6s, and we've got a 6 down the right side. So our 6 has to go over here. All right, now I have a bunch of 2s. I have a 2, a 2, a 2, and a 2. I'm just working on this bottom one here. So we've already got this one being possibly a 2, and this is the only other one that could be a 2 in this column. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Now a 4 could be almost anywhere. 3 can be everywhere. We've got our 2. And then the 1. Okay. So now I'm going to look at this center one here. I have this 9, right? So I can't have a 9 here, and I can't have a 9 here. So I actually have a 9 either here or here for this row. Okay, so these two 9s actually only give me 2 spots in this cube for a 9. Okay. So let's see, 9's marked, 8, 7, 6. No limitations on 5. 4s, 3s, 2s. Okay, so the 2 actually has to be one of these two because we have 2s there, pair of 2s. Okay, pair of 2s. And that actually lines up really nice with the pattern there for the 2s. Okay. All right. Okay. Any other help here? I wish I could get a couple more numbers. I think I'm getting to the point where I need to just write everything down so that I don't miss anything. Sometimes, so these top 3 are all marked out, right? Okay, so let's take a look here. So I have a 1 coming down and a 1 coming across. So I could have a 1 here, or here, or here. Okay. Got my 2. Now a 3 comes down. So the 3, we haven't gotten many 3s, so I'm going to have to just do a lot of marking for the 3s. All right, so we do have a 4 down the left side. All right, so we have lots of 4s. Okay, and I have a 5 down the left, 5 through the center. So I've got 4 spots that could be 5. Oh, this is looking ugly. All right, this 6 comes down here. All right, we've got our 7 marked as one of these two. Okay, 8 in the left, 8 in the right. So 8 could actually be anyone down the middle. Okay, 9 is down the middle. Chunk a chunk and through the center. There's our 9s. Okay. So that one is ugly, but it's all marked out. Let's go to the center one here. We've got our 1, we've got our 2. I believe 3s can go everywhere. I don't have any 3s actually identified in this one just yet. All right, we do have a 4 down the left. Okay, so we got all our 4s marked. We have a 5 through the center. But other than that, we don't have it identified anywhere else. Okay. Okay, and we know one of these two is our 6. We've got our 7. And we know one of these two is our 8. And then there's our 9. So that one is fully marked out. This 3 and 5 and 3 and 5 might be one of our helpful numbers here. We might have to look at a little bit closer. Okay, let's look at this right one. 1. Okay, we've got a 2. 3 can go everywhere. Okay, we have a 4 down the center. Oop, got that one a little bit too quick. Come on, clicker. Oop, you're right. See, you can't be a 4 there. This is the 4 down the center. I'm just excited to put numbers everywhere. I'm just throwing them everywhere. All right, we've got a 5. Okay, and then we've got a 6 through the center. Okay, double checking ghost rows. Got a 7 through the middle. And we had that crisscross with the 7. See, so that's good. So we only have 2 spots for the 7. That's good. Okay, the 8 comes up the left side. Okay, I don't have any other ghost rows for the 8s, so my 8s can be anywhere over here. 9 comes through the center. Now 9 also does a crisscross. Check this out, folks. Look at this. See this 9 that comes across the bottom? So either way, a 9 is either got to be on the left or the right. And then look over here. See this 9 here? 9 can't be in the center. And check this out. See the 7 and the 9? So they're using 2 principles at the same time. They're going to be using a crisscross pattern, and then we're going to double lock. So check this out. So crisscross says that the 7 and the 9 have to be in the middle, right? So now that I have a 7 and a 9 through here, and I have a crisscross pattern that tells me that these two are actually double locked, can only be 7s and 9s. So I'm going to get rid of all of these other numbers. So these ones are 7s and 9s. They have to be a 7 and 9 no matter what we do. They have to be a 7 or a 9. Okay. That is going to be helpful too. I'm looking at this column now. I have a 1 and an 8. And this one has to be, the only 3 numbers left is a 1, 3, and an 8. So I have to have a 1 and a 3 here, because I can't have an 8. So there's a 1, 3, and an 8, and a 1 and an 8. Okay. So 7 and 9s, those are very good. Those are solidly locked. Now I erased some numbers, but I think they were all numbers that had, let me double check that again. So I've got plenty of places for 1 to go. We've got our 2. Plenty of places that could be 3s. Okay, we still have plenty of places for 4 to go. Got our 5, plenty of 6s. Okay, 7. Okay, 8. See, now that helped us out with the 8. Look at that. 8 is only in 2 spots now. So if we could eliminate one of those, that would help us out quite a bit. And then 9. Okay. All right. Now I always try to look, see where there's only 2 numbers, because then you might find another double lock somewhere. And if you do, then that can help. Just like we got to erase and clear out some of these numbers here. Okay, let's take a gander down here at this bottom right cube. Okay, we need a 1, and that can go here, here. Can it go over here? I don't think I have any limitations on the 1s, so I think they can go pretty much everywhere. Okay, we've got our 2 marked out over here. Okay, and I don't have any limitations on my 3s. Okay, 4 does come down the middle. Sure would be nice to be able to knock some of these out, huh? It's getting a little hairy with my marks. I was really kind of lucky to find that 7 and 9 with all these markings. I might have gotten overwhelmed by them. All right, 6, 7, 6, 7, 5, 6. We've got our 7 identified over here. And then we have an 8. And then our 9 has to be in one of these 3. This one, or this one. Okay, so that is fully marked out. So now I'm just going to kind of look up and down and see if there's anything double locked. Triple locks happen too. Not very often, but triple locks do happen. Okay. All right. Let's move along. Got our 1 marked out here. We have a 2 that comes down the center. All right, so 2 can be here, 2 can be here, 2 can be here, 2 can be here. I don't have any help on my 3s. 3s can be everywhere. 3s are everywhere. Okay, no 4 down. Oh, and this could be a 3. This one can't be a 1 or a 2 though, because we have the 1 and the 2. Okay, so 4 down the left side. No 5 across the top. We've already identified 5 has to be in the middle. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, boom. That one is all fully marked out. One last cube. Whew, before I have to try to... 1 comes through the center. Ooh, got some people with some birthdays today. Okay, 1s go somewhere. Like that. We got our 2 already marked out. No 3 down the left side. All right, we do have a 4 down the left. Okay, we already know the 5 and the 6 are both down here. 7, 8. We have a 9 and a 9, and we have our 9. So this is fully marked out. Okay, so this is a perfect example. See this 3 and this 4 in the middle? If that's all that they can be is a 3 and a 4, then we know they're double locked. That means 3s and 4s can't be anywhere else in this cube or in this row. So if I go back to this row and I mark out the 3s and the 4s, 3s and the 4s, 3s and the 4s, come back down here, get rid of this 3 and 4, get rid of this 3, get rid of this 3, get rid of this 4, get rid of this 4. You see that right there? Just with these 2 being double locked, that helps clean up quite a bit. Okay, so now let's take a look a little bit deeper here and see how that helps us out some. Okay, let's see here. See, that might create another double lock, possibly. Now I'm just running probabilities here, trying to try different things out. Okay, This 4 that just cleaned up here. Okay, so what that does for me, I just noticed something else now. Now that these are 3s and 4s, I can't have a 3 or a 4 down here in my bottom row, right? So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say the 3 and the 4 have to be. They have to be down here in this bottom row to be able to qualify to have a 3 and a 4 for this row. So when 3 and 4 are up here, there's this pseudo crisscross pattern, because that means I'm going to have a 3 and a 4 up here in these top two as well. This is a stretch. So I've got a 3 and a 4 here. I'm going to have a 3 and a 4 in these top two rows because there's no space for a 3 or 4 in the bottom. So my 3 and the 4 have to be in the bottom. So we're actually going to get rid of all the 3s and the 4s. Cannot be 3 or 4 in the top portions. Cannot be. Okay, so that helps us to eliminate some numbers. Looking for another double lock somewhere, folks. Give me a hand, will ya? We're getting there. We're just whittling away at it here. So we have to have a 3 and a 4. And then the others, this 1 and 2 and 5 and 6. That's good. So now this is kind of getting cleaned up here. Okay. Very good, very good. All right. So I got rid of 3 and 4s here. So I got a 3 and a 4 here, 3 and a 4 here. I do have a 3 up here. But one of these two have to be a 4. All right, and then one of these two have to be a 4 somewhere. Okay. Okay, we just gotta keep going like we're doing here. All right, you guys see it? I know we're getting close. Just missing one more number, feels like. Just one more to kind of crack the ice on these guys. It's one of the reasons I don't like to put down all these numbers like this, because it can get overwhelming. But at some point I have to, just so I can make sense of it, just like we've been doing. We've been eliminating some possibilities. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4s, 2s. I think that's all we need is just one more double lock, and that would help us out quite a bit. So sometimes I get stuck like this, and what I do is I get out a piece of paper. This one's all written all over, and I'll try one method, and that'll help me to kind of crack the ice a little bit, and I'll find something that will work or something that won't work, and I'll see it. Sometimes I have a hard time with it. So I'll find like a row that I know how close I am, and then I'll try it. So like see this 1 and this 8 and this 1, 3, and 8 this way. I don't know, I got my 7 and 9 locked here, but like just for giggles, like what if I make this as a 1? Okay, and then an 8. If I do this as a 1, that'll make this an 8. Okay, if I do that as a 1, then the bottom one becomes a 3. And that becomes an 8. And that's a 1 and a 4. Does that help me enough? Okay, so if that's a 1 and a 3, then that one becomes an 8. That one becomes a 6. That one becomes a 5. So no 5 and 6. Those are both 7s and 8s. Ooh, no. Oh, no. No, not maybe. No. Okay. Got kind of excited there for just a moment there. All right. 3 and a 4. Well, it doesn't reveal a ton. I kind of get stuck after about 3 or 4 moves. Let's flip that. And that's usually what I do. I just flip it. So if this is an 8 and this becomes a 1, so if that's an 8 and that's a 1, okay, then that becomes a 9. That becomes a 7. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Okay, so right here, I just found it. If this is a 1, then these two can't be 1. That makes this a 9, which makes this a 7. So if this was a 7 and a 9, see this 7 and 9? If this is a 7 and a 9, this can't exist. There we go. And it's a tricky, I don't have a name for this. You know, it's kind of a linear loop dissolution. I don't know. It dissolves all the number possibilities. But see these 1s that are here, the 7, 9, and 1. And I've got a 7 and a 9 and a 1. So if this is a 1, see then the 1 and 1s are gone here, right? So that makes this a 9. Now if 1 and 9 are gone, this is a 7, 7 and 9, 7 and 9. So this here cannot be a 1. It can't be. So there we go. That's one of the things I do like about Sudoku is you can't have or there's only one solution, right? It has to be one way. So I do enjoy that about the game. Okay, like math. I'm not the best at words and English, you know, spelling and all that. So if that's our 1, there's our 3. If we have our 1 and 3, there's our 8. All right, so I'm going to go through and clean this up a smidge. 3s or 8s are gone. My 3s are done. They're taken care of. Okay. Okay, so now this 8 comes over here to this 6. See, that's what I was actually looking at, is where there's just 2 numbers. I was kind of floating back and forth on those. Okay, so now let's clean up our 6. That's the big thing, is keeping these pencil marks nice and clean. Okay, so now if this is a 6 here, this can't be a 6 anymore. That becomes a 5. All right, now one of these two were a 6, so now the 6 has to go here. All right, and then let me go ahead and clean up my 5s, no longer down here. And I can clean up my 5s here and here. And now we have a 7 and 8 double lock. That's what I was getting excited about earlier for, is the way this was cleaning up. I've got 7 and 8s, I got 3s and 4s. You see, that's usually when you start to solve it, things start to clean up really nice and start to fit together a little bit at a time. Okay, all right. So let's see what else we have now. That was a good start. Okay, I need to get rid of my 6 here. All right. I need to get rid of my 6 here. All right, so you see these are starting to clean up. So this is where, just kind of like the 7 and 9 here, now that this is a 3 and a 5 and a 3 and a 4, you see all these other 3s and 5s and 3s and 4s. So they start to, now over here, see all my pencil marks. It's hard to tell that 6 could only have gone in one of these two spots. That's where my 6 was. So now that I have a 6 here, this is the only spot left for a 6. Okay, now we get rid of the 6s over here, and this is actually the only spot left for a 6. Okay, so this is where pencil marks are very, very, you got to be very careful with them. Okay, now that we have this 6, our 6 will have to go here, our 3 will have to go here. There we go. All right, now we have a 3 down the middle, 3 down the right, so this is the only spot left for our 3. I know I'm going kind of quick here. I'm going to get caught up. I know I'm going to hang myself here in a second. Okay, now that there's no 3 here in this column, this is the only spot left for a 3. Okay, I got 1s and 9s. See how clean that is? Very good. I like those 1s and 9s. Okay, 7s and 8s, 1s and 9s. Things are just kind of slowly. Now I got to come through, and I'm looking at this 3. No 3s here. This is actually the only spot left for a 3. There we go. There's our 5. There's our 3. Okay, now I need to do some cleanup here. Get rid of all these 3s. Okay, no 3 here anymore. All right, no 3 here anymore. So one of these two, oh, we've already got our 3 there. Look at that. We've got a nice, beautiful 1 and 4. Now these 1 and 4s are now double locked. So guess what? Look at this. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to get rid of my 1s and 4s. So that leaves me with just one number down here in the bottom section. Now look at this. See 7 and 9, 7 and 9, 1 and 4, 1 and 4. See how that's just kind of a nice, tidy cleanup. Okay, so now that we've got this 2, this one becomes 1. Only spot left for a 2 there. Now that this is a 1, the only spot left for a 9. And they just kind of cascade a little bit here. Now that this is a 1, this one has to become a 4. Now that that's a 4 and a 1, we've got these ones resolved. All right, now I need to come in here and clean up my pencil marks. We got our 1 and our 4. Got our 1 and our 4. Look at that, just a 5 and a 9. 3s and 4s, nice and clean. Okay, we've got our 1, got our 4. All right, so those are cleaning up handy dandily. Okay. All right, all right. Okay, it looks like I've only got one number left here is for a 5. Okay, that's going to help resolve this guy to a 9 and a 5. This one's going to resolve to a 2, the only number left. Okay, so now I can get rid of my 2s and my 5 because I have a 5 there. So 1s and 3s, see how clean that is? Now this also, now we can get rid of the 3s and the 5s. So because of this 5, this is actually the only spot left for a 5. There we go. So now we have a 2 and a 4. Now we have a 2 already over here. So now we got a 4 and a 2. I'm just trying to keep up with my pencil marks here. 4s, so that one has to be a 3. Has to be a 4. Okay, now that we have our 3, there's a 1. There's our 3. Okay, now that we have a 1, this one makes it our 9. Okay, now if that's a 9, there's our 7, there's our 9, and it just cascades around the board here until we only have one number left. All right. Oh, and I see I didn't get rid of my 5s here. Okay, so we've got one of these numbers. There we go, 9. So the 9 can't be here. That has to be a 7. Has to be a 9. Okay, and now that we have our 7, comes on over here. That has to be an 8. Has to be a 7. Now that we have our 8, this one becomes our 4. And last one but not least, there we go, folks, is another 8. So it took us a little bit of time on this one. I think this is one of my longer puzzles. But those double locks are very important. Crisscross is very important. And being able to see those linear cancelizations where you can't be a certain number, projection is huge. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I didn't keep you waiting too long there while I was sorting those out in my brain. I do always recommend pausing it before we play the show and print you off a couple copies. Play along with, see how you do. Don't have to wait for me if you're getting along and I'm just missing it, but then we will sort it out together if you get stuck. And always welcome comments, suggestions, and challenges. Thanks, folks. Have a good one. Catch you next time.